The Jimmy Z Show.
Okay, Joey Orville. Oval? It's more like Oval. Joey Oval, a 22-year-old transgender student at the University of Texas at Austin, has transitioned into living as a man. But his driver's license, it's a girl, okay? And she's not a girl anymore. She transgendered into a boy. Her driver's license, which carries his legal name, her, who cares? Its driver's license, which carries its name and has not been updated to reflect its identity, still creates discomfort for it in some settings, not the least of which are polling places. Oh, by the way, I want to thank Danny for sending me this article. What a load of crap.
What a load of crap.
Imagine if the polling place is quiet. This is Joey talking. I guess she used to be Josephine, whatever. Imagine if the polling place is quiet. If I start explaining that I'm transgender and that's why I don't look like my ID, all the people around me are going to hear it. Suddenly it feels like I have a target on my back. Look, you know whose fault this is? This is the responsibility of the transgender person. And so if you're going to go transgender and you're going to go through the process of changing your sex, part of what you should be doing is planning out the change of identity. That would be your driver's license, your credit cards, your insurance. Everything that has your name and social security number on it should be changed. Your account with the federal government, you should be changing to your new name, Joey. But don't blame the Texas voter ID law because you didn't have your ducks in a row after you got your sex change. This is on you, Joey. The Texas voter ID law, which was passed in 2011 and will face its biggest statewide test in Tuesday's primaries, presents an added hurdle for transgender voters who say that fear might be discouraging them from showing up at the polls. And you know what? Here's another way you can do it. Absentee ballots. Get your absentee ballot and vote by mail. There are plenty of ways. This is all a bunch of hoo-ha. And by the way, how many people are transgender? Not very many. So all you have to do is go by absentee ballot. Everything's fine. This is so lame. The left will do anything to stop people from having to show their identification and prove who they are to be able to vote. Lisa Sheps, operations manager for Equality Texas, an LGBT advocacy group, called the law blatantly discriminatory because transgender people face challenges in obtaining government-issued photo ID that accurately depicts their name and gender. Why? Get a new one. Big freaking deal. And again, if voting is important to you, before you go through all of the sex change crapola, make sure you get your identification taken care of. It's blatantly discriminatory because transgender people face challenges in obtaining government-issued photo ID that accurately depicts their name and gender. Come on. It's not that hard. What does it cost? $12? $8? $10? And you got a new driver's license that says Joey instead of Josephine. Determining discrepancies in IDs is left up to the discretion of poll workers who are trained at the county level with materials provided by the Office of the Texas Secretary of State, which oversees statewide elections. Alicia Pierce, a spokeswoman for the office, said there is no language on transgender voters in any training manuals. Well, they're going to have to change that. They're going to have to rewrite the manuals in order to include LGBT people. But poll workers use their best judgment and are taught to err on the side of the voter. You know, I'm sorry, these people are screwed up. These transgender people are a mess. To get his gender and legal name changed on his driver's license, Joey Obel, who had a double mastectomy in December. Now, this is a woman who had a double mastectomy because she believes she is a man. All right? She would have to provide the Department of Public Safety with a court order proving that he has undergone a sex change. This type of surgery, which is expensive and rarely covered by insurance companies. Well, why didn't Obamacare cover that? I bet you they'll add it at some point. Rarely covered by insurance companies, is not accessible to a majority of the transgender community whose unemployment rate is twice of the general population. Well, that's two reasons. First, these people are psychological disasters. And it doesn't matter if a person is male or female, or transgender male or transgender female. This kind of problem, whatever it is, rattling around in their head is going to make them very difficult to employ. And the second part is a bank is not going to want to have a bank teller. I'm giving a bank as an example. You're not going to want to have a bank teller who looks like a man dressing as a woman. And I know that in terms of what is changing in our society, what we're being told by those who are pushing for all this to be normalized, I sound very old-fashioned. So be it.
So be it.
Perez Hilton.
So be it.
So the unemployment rate among transgender people is twice that of the general population, according to a 2011 report by the National Center for Transgender Equality and the National Gay and Lesbian Task Force. According to the report, 47% of transgender Texans report having been verbally harassed or disrespected in places of public accommodation, including government offices.
That's how our forefathers designed our government.
This is Lisa Sheps again. Whether or not everything matches up on their ID, transgender people are afraid to even go vote because they feel that they have to show this burden of proof on their identity. They're afraid of what people are going to say. Well, if they're afraid of what people are going to say, maybe they shouldn't have had a sex change operation. You know, so many times we've all heard how much pride there is in the LGBT community. So if there's all this pride, wouldn't you want to show up? And you would show your driver's license that you used to be a girl and now you're a boy. And here's my driver's license. And oh, look, that doesn't look like you. Oh, that's because. And then you would turn around at the polling place and there's 25 or 30 people there waiting in line. And you would make sure that everyone could hear, hey, that's because I'm transgender and I'm proud. Well, apparently, Joey is not so proud of being transgender. Joey sounds ashamed because Joey doesn't want anyone to know that he used to be a she or she used to be a he. I get so confused. Obviously, there is no pride there. There is shame. There is embarrassment. And the reason for that is because somewhere deep down, somewhere in the back of their mind, somewhere in the back of their heart, they know this was not right. Here's a woman who gets a double mastectomy because she wants to be a man. At some point in her life, I guarantee you, there was some kind of emotional or physical trauma. Physical or sexual or extreme verbal abuse, something happened that made her detest herself. And she felt like if she would only become a man, and she may have been, who knows, she could have been inspired by Sonny and Cher Bono's daughter, Chastity, who is now Chaz. And maybe she saw Chaz Bono on the Ellen DeGeneres show. And she thought, oh, That person looks happy now. That person was in pain, but now that person looks happy. So maybe that's what I should do. You never know. That's why what Ellen DeGenerate does, celebrating somebody like Chaz Bono, who's obviously had a terrible life and has been abused in so many instances and has been living through so much pain. Ellen presents Chaz Bono as a victor. That Chaz Bono, now that she's finally a man like she was supposed to be before she was born, that shows us that it was the right thing to do. I mean, it's really sick. It's really twisted. Because what is sick and wrong and depraved and demented is we're now being told that it's normal. And normal people who know that there is sin and perversion and twisted logic, we're the enemy. We are the people who are hateful. Because we look at this situation and we realize these people are being told a lie. And that if you would just have this sex change operation, you'd be okay. And it really, it breaks my heart. It really does. These people are being lied to, and they're in so much pain, they are desperate for some kind of relief. So they go for it. And here's Joey Oval, who is so happy with his new identity that he's afraid to go vote because somebody might find out he's transgender. I'm sorry. I'm not buying it. If you ask me, you prove that there's no pride in the LGBT community. There is only pain and anguish and embarrassment and shame. Once again, here I am telling it like it is on The Jimmy Z Show.
The Jimmy Z Show.